Hello everyone, Jason here with BC Edge. In this video, I'm going to be installing the Tormach MicroARC 4th axis into the 1100 MX. Let's go check it out. So the MicroARC comes with some hardware. Obviously it comes with the 3-jaw chuck. Also got a ER40 collet holder. And we've got some T-slot nuts, some bolts, some other more different bolts, reverse jaws, some slot keys, a spanner. Then we've got, with the installation kit, basically just comes with this stepper driver. Now for installation onto the 1100 MX, we do have a little bit of an issue to take care of. These slots, we're going to use these two. They happen to line up with the slots in the table, but the MicroARC comes with these small T-nuts, and they're the right size for these screws, and they would normally go underneath the table and slot in, but the table in the 1100 has a different slot size. It uses a T-slot that is more like this. Now, we've got two options. We can either modify the 4th axis so that it fits the bolt that goes through these. You see the bolt size that would normally go in there just doesn't fit. Or we can make some custom T-slot nuts that are this size but have this size thread, which is a 5/16 18. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make some of these out of some aluminum. First things first, we've got to wire in the driver. So let's go to the back of the machine and see what we got to do there. Here we are at the back of the machine. Just got to open up this electrical panel. There's a bunch of boards and fuse panels, all kinds of stuff in here. The area we're going to be working in is right up here. There's a big blank spot. Make sure the machine is turned off, by the way, before you do all this. So you'll only see one wire hanging out. This is going to be for the 4th axis here. First, we got to mount the driver. And you can put it anywhere in any of these slots. I'm just going to choose this second one. And it just screws in, nothing fancy. One on the top, one on the bottom. Okay, there's that. Next thing will be to plug in this connector. It only goes one way, like that. It's already wired up. Now there's a couple of hidden wires that you'll need to uncover underneath this panel here and this one up here. So they're just some little plastic covers. You can pull those right off. So you'll see down here there's a couple of unconnected wires. We've got one that has a number 240 and a number 241. And those will get connected down here. We'll get a closer look. 240 and 241. And they're going to connect into this fuse block. Where they connect is labeled A+ and A-. It's right next to all these wires that are connected there. So A+ and A- right there on this panel. The blue wire, number 240, goes to the A-. And brown wire, number 241, goes to the A+ on the bottom there. Okay, so we got those connections. Let's put the wires through the slot and put the cover back on there. It just snaps back on. Okay, now on the top side, there are some ribbon cables that you'll see, and they're just stowed in. There's a few of them. One of them has a label. That's this 423.4. This is the one we're going to plug into the driver. So we'll stow away these other guys and let this one break out of the bottom. And we could just plug that right in here. Last thing is the dip switches. I've already got these set up, but essentially they're all in the on position except for number 3 and number 8. So for the 1100 MX with the MicroARC 4th axis, this is how it should be set up. And we'll just put this panel back in place. There we go. That's more or less what it should look like. The MicroARC comes with a couple of these slot keys. This one I assume is for a different machine. It's the smaller of the keys. The one that we're going to use is this one. I did have to deburr it a little bit to get it to fit into this slot nice and cleanly. But you just take the included screw. It's just a 2mm Allen key, and tighten that down. It is interesting that they include this, but they don't include the proper size T-nuts. Not sure why. Okay, so that's ready to go, but we got to get those T-slots made before we can mount it in the machine. So I'm just going to be using some 1-inch square stock, just some scrap material I had laying around. It's just 3 3/4 inch long, and that's what I'm going to use. The actual dimensions of this aren't particularly important. This just happens to be almost exactly the right size. So. So I'm going to use this stock to make 2 separate T-slot nuts out of. It'd be nice to keep them all in one piece, but they have to be small enough to fit into these little sections so they can drop in and slide underneath these table slots. Alright, we've got our tools ready for this job. Got a spot drill, 3/8, 3 flute carbide end mill, a 17/64 drill, and our 5/16 18 tap. I'm going to do some rigid tapping on this machine. It's set up in a drill chuck. I don't know if it'll hold, but we're going to give it a try and see what happens. there they are. Didn't take very long. Definitely could have gone faster, but I'll try that on the next set. Got to make a few more of these. I'm just going to take this to the bandsaw and cut out the center section that's left over. This saw is a little bit dull. It's been cutting some titanium, so. Just gotta do a quick deburr on these. To do the deburring, I'm just using this, what's called the machinist's knife. It's just like a three-sided file that has no teeth on it, but the edges are very sharp. So it's pretty good for doing this kind of work. All right, there we are. Let's check the threads real quick. Fits great. Let's see if they fit into these slots properly. And they do. Nice. Just a little bit of room. Basically just tops out right at the top of this chamfer. That's good. So we got all our T-slot nuts. They will sit in the machine just about like that. I'll have a little gap in between there. So. So we're at the maximum X travel of the machine, trying to set up exactly where I want the 4th axis face to sit. I want it to be far enough away from anything else. I'm gonna have to move the vise, but eventually I want to put a tombstone in here. That'll take up a certain amount of space. So I'm putting this on the left side of the machine. It's no particular reason, just should get a little bit better flow from the coolant for anything that's really close to the chuck. Just gotta put the bolts in and torque it down. I've got this set up so that we're about 1 inch from the nose here. This is the maximum travel of the machine on the x-axis. So that should work out when I have a tombstone. My adapter is going to be a little bit over 1 inch long, and then the tombstone will start from here over. So I want to be able to get to the very end of it. So the rest of this is just tightening things down and checking the straightness and setting everything up. Tormach's got some good videos on that if you're interested in figuring that out, but I'm not going to get into that on this video. I'm just going to plug this in and See if I can get it going. And for the wire, we've got to get it to go all the way and down underneath this panel and into a plug that's at the side of the machine. So we got it all hooked up. Let's try it out. You just jog using these two keys here. Okay. Cool. Looks like it's working. All right, well, it took a little while. We finally got this thing all dialed in and set up. Next thing is I'm going to be making an adapter plate and a tombstone that I've got to build so that I can put fixtures on. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you on the next video.